I'm Deep Mahaman and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Looking at Liverpool's squad, I want everyone to start with our name and we'll move from there. Of a player you think who's at Liverpool already that will thrive under Jürgen Klopp, Aubrey?
I'm gonna leave.
Sorry, we've lost Chris.
Yeah, he's just gone. He's broke.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave one for Chris because I think I know what he's gonna say, and I agree with him.
Ancelotti.
No, Balotelli.
Sorry, wrong show.
No, I think he'll be able to speak about him really well. So I'm gonna go with another one.
Under pressure here, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Right, Lallana.
Okay.
Because I think he's a player who naturally has got that pressing game in him.
Yeah. Even
though he hasn't got the pace to break away from players. If we do the gegenpress, which is like where we try and break the ball off. And there was a quote from Klopp. I don't know when he said it in his career, but he said the best number 10 is the team, and that's if the team all press and win the ball back.
No, the quote was more along the lines of the best playmaker is a good defense.
Yeah,
and winning the ball back early.
Winning the ball back early, but it creates so much space that you can then move into that. So, and I think Lallana's already got that ethic in him. He's got to have a run free of injuries to do it. But he's also a really technically gifted player, and we've talked about Southampton with Lovren possibly benefiting. Lallana was amazing for Southampton, and he's going to go to a similar system to what he played in, more so than what he's been playing with Liverpool. Yeah. And also in the past, based on Sarkeen, really did well for Klopp, and so did Kagawa.
Do we still own him?
And they,
you never did.
And they weren't necessarily blessed with that much pace. I really hope to see the best of Lallana because
it's interesting because actually we mentioned this, like there was international football, none of us paid any attention to it. I was at a wedding at the weekend, my brother-in-law's an Arsenal fan, and he was saying, "Oh, the match," and I was like, "Oh, England, right?" And he was raving about Lallana. He said he was absolutely fantastic. He said, he looked dead dangerous. He was driving at people, blah blah blah. Like, he's a good example already. And we talked about this on part one about how players who will run through brick walls for you. Lallana's probably not got the physique to be running at any kind of walls. Plasterboards, in those stud walls. No, it's not. I think we talked about Casino Royale on the Monday Briefing podcast. There's a bit where Dan Quinn runs through one of those walls. No, Lallana would be bouncing off that. But in terms of like players who are looking to make an impact, there's his first opportunity. You know what I mean? He's away on international duty, and he's put in a great performance in that first game. Good on him. I don't know. Where do you sit on that, Dad? Do you agree with Lallana, or have you got another suggestion you'd like to throw in?
No idea.
No, so
I have no idea. I suspect that there isn't one player we've got who's fit enough for Jürgen Klopp. I think that he'll want them to be much fitter.
Yeah.
If you look at his teams, they all run about 5 miles a game more than we've been doing.
It's interesting that Sky chose that as their one statistic to play.
But I've seen it in other contexts from looking at other teams as well, and Dortmund were way ahead of all of them. So I don't know. I mean, I think Moreno looks potentially like a guy who Klopp will love because he's so pacey. He gets forward. He's very good at closing down high up the pitch. But if he's going to sort our defence out, how does he square that with the fact that he's not a great left back at the moment?
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem to be able to get up and down and do both jobs as well. So I just don't know any of our players I could actually guarantee will fit in perfectly with. Yeah. I know that he was always quite keen on Firmino. You'd obviously seen him in Germany play at his best.
He's one, isn't he? Because
so
I think
he may well know.
We all want him desperately to succeed because he was our most exciting summer signing. We've seen nothing. We've seen flashes, glimpses. I think we probably saw as much, if not slightly more, probably from Markovic. To be fair, you know what I mean. In his early days at Liverpool, so. Firmino is one that's he's going to have to, really, isn't he?
Firmino could thrive. It's about application, isn't it? This is what it's going to be like for everybody in the squad, though. It's how they buy into Jürgen Klopp's tactics and they buy into what he wants to try and achieve. And I think all of them will improve under Jürgen Klopp if they're given a chance.
I mean, Firmino looks to me, what I've seen of him, as a guy who does like to be all over the pitch. Yeah. Whereas I've read an article saying that he did look at Benteke when he was at Dortmund as a replacement for Lewandowski, but he didn't like his work rate. Mm-hmm. And now, I don't know how true that is.
Well, I guess it's a weird one, because you probably wouldn't choose to buy someone who doesn't match the work rate ethic that you have.
Everyone has
but if you've
got
got them already and you're not paying any money for them,
that's
you can afford
it.
to work on it.
Will he be able to get that out of him? I don't know. It's not something I would have criticised Benteke for himself.
I've read it on a few places, and I've not seen that where it's been said why. He said, everyone that I've read said he tried to sign Benteke in 2013, and it's never said there was a reason for him not signing him. It's just that he wanted to sign him. Yeah. It says at the very least that he's got the attributes and the skill set that Jürgen Klopp thinks. So maybe it was too big a risk.
Take notice.
Exactly. Maybe it was too big of a risk for the transfer.
What it means is that you just can't be sure who's going to fit this system and who isn't until it's the proof of the pudding bit, in the eating and stuff. Isn't it?
Who was it you thought I'd
Firmino?
Champion? Yeah, Firmino. I think he played that position. He played the number 10 of three midfielders for Hoffenheim. So, and you can see from what we have seen, those glimpses of Firmino, that he does like to close people down and stuff. So for me, it's his natural position. And that midfield, so let's go say does 4-2-3-1. I see those front three players behind Benteke. Long term potentially being Coutinho on the left, Firmino in the centre, and then maybe a Daniel Sturridge, but more of a support striker role for him. Yeah. I actually think that Daniel Sturridge could absolutely flourish under this because of the way that the team sets up.
It's one way or the other. I think it's going to go with Sturridge.
Will be, yeah.
And the thing is that ultimately, if you've got a guy who scores loads of goals, you probably looked at everything in your power to get him working, don't you, to some extent.
Exactly.
I think what's interesting for me is that it's the players that there's some players I think, because Sturridge doesn't stand out for me immediately, and I think I look at the players who are the ones who already put the shift in, and the players who already who would do the running for you and do it naturally, I think will thrive under him. And I could pick one from Danny Ings, Jordan Henderson, Adam Lallana, Milner maybe, but one I think I've seen so many people talking about him as if he's going to get bombed out, but probably won't. Joe Allen probably won't get bombed out as quickly as people think he.
Well, he was my other shock one to throw in there.
You're a dark horse.
Short term, but he might he would probably upgrade on him in the summer. But if you're coming in and looking at players, you're just going to go in and just press and harry and harry.
He's more mobile than Lucas, isn't he?
The thing is, Wales, again, you look at it, and let's not judge them, and again, you've got to judge them completely, but let's just remove the Liverpool games or the Liverpool performances recently. Wales qualified for the first Euros ever, and there was a big thing in the papers and a big review of it. He was saying they've got a solid spine, and part of that is the fact that Joe Allen is so fantastic at pressing people, keeping the ball, playing the simple pass and getting their moves started. Yeah. And they play a very similar system. It's all about getting Bale space. Yeah. Bale's their star man, and they're set up to do that. And they're defensively solid. They'd only conceded twice in the whole qualifying campaign. So he's sitting deep, and he's allowing Ramsey and Bale to do stuff. A completely different thing to the Premiership and international football. But ultimately, we've got a new manager coming in who likes to play two holding mids in front of the team, and he's already said he wants that defensive stability. There's nothing to say that Joe Allen can't try and can't do that. To write, I don't think we should have any writing anyone off yet.
Can I just interject there? Right, I think we're massively oversimplifying this. I don't think it's down to. It's not as easy as do they run a lot or they fit. That's going to need to be improved, as you've said, John, because Dortmund used to run a lot. But it's how clever they are as footballers. Every single phase of play, Klopp will be wanting them in a position, and it's not always about running towards the person and pressing the man. It's from the goalkeeper, from the opposition goalkeeper picking up the ball. Everybody's got a position on the pitch where they're supposed to be on the Klopp. And it's from that point there that you start defending. And it's all about making sure that your forwards are always on the field, if you know what I mean. Let's say they were pawns in chess. You can't lose those forwards early. They've got to be in a position where they can stop passes and cut out passing lanes. Everybody's got to buy into this philosophy. Either they all succeed or a large portion.
Well, this is the point, isn't it? I think that if you look at the players, because I don't think we've got any with the exception of Jose Enrique, I don't think we've got any stupid players to that level that we've had in the past. You know, Balotelli's out on loan.
I think the problem is though that because every single scenario you've got a different position or a different person to be worrying about it, how naturally and how quickly you can pick up on that if you go into his Dortmund system.
But short term when we discussed about this, I think as we go, that's where players will need to be brought in and players will need to be sold. In terms of the players, that I think that what we've talked about, what he will get first and foremost going is players who give 110% on the pitch first and foremost, because I think that's how he goes about winning the fan base over. It's probably like a prototype version where we might even sacrifice a little bit of skill and a little bit of guile or whatever just to get a team that goes out there and looks to fuck up the other team as much as possible.
What I'm trying to get across is that, you know, Lucas is one that you'd look at and you'd think, well, his position's probably a little bit under threat with Klopp as manager, but if he's in the right position all of the time, then it won't matter to Klopp.
No.
You know, and that goes back to this, you know, if a good defensive midfielder shouldn't really be seen.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Emre Can could be charging around, throwing in tackles left, right and centre, but if Lucas is in the position, cutting out passes from his body position, then we might not notice, but he's doing a good job. Yeah. I'm just saying we're oversimplifying.
I think what we've got to realise as well is that Henderson's not going to be around in the first instance, so there's an opportunity for someone like Joe Allen or Chan to come into that midfield and show that they can work in that system.
I really want, of all the players though, I hope Danny Ings gets an opportunity and continues to impress, because I just really like the look of him, and I hope he fits. I hope he has the level of intelligence and the level of technical ability to keep him in Klopp's plans, because I just like it, you know what I mean? And it's a sad fact, isn't it, that there'll be some players who've been on the fringes who will actually end up making themselves stars for Liverpool under Jürgen Klopp, and there'll be players that we think are really good who just don't fit in with what they want to do. It's always what happens under a new manager. I just really hope, because I like the cut of his jib. I hope Danny Ings is one of the ones that thrive.
So what we're focusing on now as the pressing team is we're trying to win the ball back further up the pitch.